Hey guys, Sacred Black Sheep with another video. So I just did a video pulling cards, and I was playing a video from Goddess Queen. It was the Virgo reading I explained in the last video, but I decided to play it again to actually listen to what was going on since I was recording as well. But her explaining the story of Lucifer, right, has got these cards to come out in some way, shape, or form. So the reason why I'm making this video just to kind of do a brief analysis of the story as well. So with the divine partner union, divine timing, different bloodlines, same-sex, interracial relationships, right? So, and then we also have twin ray union, the rescuer, I sacrifice myself for you. Then we have masculine energy, logical, dominating, analytical, focus, I love the familiar. And then it says, I love you, I fell for you, unconditional love, strong attraction and affection, please love me back. And then at the bottom of the deck, I have the Three of Wands, the God of Hope, constructions of the universe, helps with great works, protection from adversaries. Then it says, bring the tea, the juice, spilling the beans, hidden truth, gossip, leaked information. So she basically explained how Lucifer, of course, being the son of God or one of God's children, was end up falling in love with a reptilian, is what LaRasha was saying, who is Lilith. And that was going against God's will. And because he ended up going against God's will, it ended up fucking up some shit for all of us, right? So again, this Fool card here is him taking that leap of faith. Will and new beginnings, assist with difficult and great undertakings. Four of Pentacles, God liberating the oppressed. Self-atonement, cures mental illness, deliverance from prosecution. Eight of Wands, the great and exalted God. Grandeur makes one passionate towards God. Well, it says towards God, but I mean, Lucifer was a rebel nonetheless. That's why that Fool card is here. And the divine partner union, Lilith was definitely from a different bloodline, and he wasn't supposed, and he ended up going against that, which made him a twin ray. That kind of basically that basically made him a twin ray. He sacrificed himself because literally, they ended up putting him in a situation, and yeah, judgment. Judgment is here, which is its atonement, errors, destroys the power of enemies and humiliates them. Well, he's definitely have been humiliated because of the choice that he's made, I don't think it was from God himself, because the betrayal came from once he interacted with Lilith. So it was more so the people of that bloodline, like her family and friends, the karmic family and friends that betrayed him. Hangman. It was literally, again, the judgment was trying to get him to really evaluate the decision that he made. And this Hangman was supposed to, well, yeah, that's probably judgment. And Hangman was God and the Emperor, literally God trying to convince Lucifer, listen, son, I'm trying to tell you about this person, I'm your father. I know what's best for you, right? And Lucifer's like, you don't know what's best for me. Trying to get him to look at it from a different perspective, right? Because I love her. I love her. What do you know about love, Lucy? I love Lucy. That's funny. Masculine energy, right? So that's him probably taking action. You're working your masculine energy, so it's literally taking action. Ace of Cups. Yeah, he offered his cup of love to her. Six of Swords. Well, let's God, the King of Heaven, rejuvenation, obtains the mercy of God, and gives long life. Oh, wow. So yeah, with the Six of Swords is moving on to calmer waters, but after all that that fussing and fighting, right? After all that fussing and fighting, the judgment and the hangman, for you to stand your ground and take charge. And it says political authority gives safe travels and protects against conspiracies. I don't know. I mean, it's a whole lot of conspiracies around Lucifer and Satan and the devil and the truths behind all of that, right? But he end up getting the blessings from God to go ahead and do this thing, because the Six of Swords is there, right? He's already explained everything to Lucy about what's about to happen, but you know, you can't tell anybody anything who's in love, quote unquote, right? So you get the blessing, Ace of Cups, for you to go and offer your Ace of Cups to Lilith. Six of Swords, moving on calm waters, the gentle God, perception of unity, protects against accidents. It wasn't no accident. That was intentional. Heals the sick. Eight of Swords. Look at that. His head is chopped off. It's not funny. Truth and justice. Protection from enemies. Who steals one's fortune. Look at that. So after all that, right? Because again, like, it was a trap. Eight of Swords is about being trapped in your mind. But because we're using the angel deck and literally talking about Lucifer, like, it was a trap. He was set up, not by God, because God warned him, right? He was warned about the situation, but you can't tell nobody nothing. You're gonna learn the hard way. Eight of Swords. So, but because I told you what was going to happen, you end up getting yourself into a situation, and because you got yourself into a situation, somebody's head had to get cut off. Look at that. I done warned you about this, and then you still went on and did it anyway, for you to still end up fucking some shit up. How, Slay? How? But it says God, protector, and savior. So again, like, Lilith fucked him over big time. If it wasn't Lilith, then it was the dealings with her that fucked Lucifer over, right? So his rejection or her rejection was his protection or something like that, you know. Strangely enough. I mean, but those who are learning, right, they're learning the truth about everything. So you're going into the world with a better understanding of, like, good and evil, and, you know, the truth about that. I love you. Six of Cups, Five of Cups, Two of Cups. So after everything, right, he still got love for her, which makes sense, right? Do you really love her? Or was this all, or was it just a ruse? Six of Cups is God who stirs all men. Motivation lifts up those who are fallen and humiliated. He was the fallen angel. And mind you, right, after everything that he has been through, after everything that he has been through in history, his name being tarnished and stuff like that, dealing with Lilith, because Lilith was a bitter baby mom, essentially, you know, because he was of God and she was just created by God. Like, it's a whole different thing, because it also, how I look at Lilith, if Lilith was the original with Adam, right? So Lilith, if we're looking at it, right, Lilith is supposed to be the embodiment of Lucifer, right? It's not Adam and Eve. It's supposed to be Adam and Lucifer. If man is God, I mean, if Adam is supposed to be of God, then Lilith was supposed to be Lucifer. But because there was some miscommunications, right, he ended up falling in love with her. It's kind of self-absorbed if you really think about it. Which is why you were forbidden to love her, because of how much alike y'all are. from what I'm learning, right? Lucifer, the angel himself, not this devil demon, how he's being portrayed. I mean, he was still a trickster nonetheless, a shapeshifter nonetheless. Because again, how we were about to go into the story. So after everything, he's been forgiven. Even though he was a fallen angel, mind you, because again, Twin Ray. Again, ooh. Dust Off Your Shoulders by Jay-Z is playing, right? But Twin Ray, he sacrificed his position as an angel. So he was an angel. He was God's chosen and favorite right hand, right? It was all these great stories about Lucifer and how he was so close to God and all that. To him being a fallen angel, this demon and evil-filled entity that's wreaking havoc all over the world. But that's nothing but dirty lies and slander created by Lilith, her damn self, who's out here being manipulative and stuff like that. And the only reason why she was like that is because she was cursed by God. So, so she intentionally got with Lucifer to spite God, mind you. But the Five of Cups is crying over spilled milk. However, with the God, King, and Ruler, prosperity, destruction of the enemy, and deliverance from bondage. So yeah, after everything, he still loves her, but I mean, do you really want to go back to that? I don't think he can go back to her, considering she's like no longer a part of history, or at least it's complicated. That's why we have witches and shit now, and doing black magic and voodoo and stuff like that, because motherfuckers are still trying to tap into Lilith energy to wreak havoc all over the world. But yeah, and I'm telling you, like, the way religion is set up now with all this, everything is a sin essentially, but then they want to turn around and be like, Jesus and God is forgiven and love and light and stuff like that. Like, it's such a contradiction, but that's all because of Lilith. Being forgiven, still understanding love, right? That was, again, a lesson. I think in any spiritual ascension, I think that's how every spiritual ascension is turning out, for at least from my perspective. It has everything to do with love, learning how to love even after somebody done portrayed you. And I feel like not everybody's probably has dealt with betrayal, but it's fucked up, right? Because even after he's been through that, he had his name tarnished and stuff like that, he was still given a second chance to a cups. He was still given a second chance at life. And you see those rings there also kind of looks like an 8 or like an infinity symbol. But it says fruition provides expansion, intelligence, and gives the grace of God. So look at that. How I was saying he was redeemed, right? After everything, you know, you've been humiliated, you had your name tarnished and all this other stuff. Do you still love this woman? He says yes, right? He says yes. Because he got kicked out of heaven, but you know, because again, you getting kicked out of heaven is not necessarily like, you know, being banished. He got kicked out because he disobeyed God. You know, my house, my rules. You don't follow my rules, you get the fuck out. And because he had to get the fuck out, he had to deal with the actions surrounding that, on why I told you not to do what you were supposed to do. And in that lesson, he still learned a valuable lesson of love. And because he learned the valuable lesson of love, he was able to be reincarnated as Jesus. And a lot of people don't want to believe that as well. That's why you think there's a Virgin Mary. Because again, I don't think she was really a virgin per se, but however, you know, her life was so devoted to God that this one mistake, or it wasn't even a mistake, it was an accident, but it was an opportunity to present itself, you know, for Lucifer to come into the world and be a better man to then save the people that he basically fucked up. You know, I remember there was a story I was listening to, because I go into sermons sometimes, so I'll watch a couple Christian sermons online. More specifically, I watch Stephen Furtick or T.D. Jakes, or Bishop T.D. Jakes. But one of the sermons Stephen Furtick was going through was the story of Jesus, and how it was when he was healing somebody. It was literally on his mission to go heal a man's daughter, but then he ended up getting stopped by by a woman who has been bleeding for like 7 years or something like that. But the one thing that stood out to me, or that stood out to him as well, was that the woman that he healed, he ended up calling daughter. Out of everybody that he went around the world and gave names to and stuff like that, this was the only woman he referred to as daughter. Now, again, I'm explaining that he came back as Jesus. However, right, before he even came to the realization of his mission of being Jesus, right, there was a time period where he kind of disappeared. Now, mind you, the Tower of Babel is specific because of how that right there was us literally coming together in union. And then God was just like, nope, I can't have that. For some reason, us coming together to be one is something that's not allowed. So he confused us. And that's only because if we knew the truth at that time, shit really would have been fucked up. But again, the Tower of Babel, right? Now everybody's speaking multiple different languages. So that, again, probably was a result of Lucifer. Lucifer's doing dealings with Lilith. Again, if the Tower of Babel was created, right, and then destroyed, mind you, that was all in vain of Noah. As I was learning about as well with T.D. Jakes and Stephen Furtick with the sermons, I was learning that the whole purpose. I mean, this may not be fact, but this is just their understanding of when they read the story, right? That the whole purpose, the reason why the Tower of Babel was created was out of trauma that was passed down from Noah's experience. Noah and his family's experience passed on to their great-grandchildren. So, and then again, right? And God made a promise to Noah that would never happen again. So therefore, that trauma being passed down, and then your grandchildren hearing the story, it's also like testing their faith. They're also being tested on their faith as well, about learning to do something. If God says something, then listen to him. His word is more important than anything, than action. You know, I feel like God's word is the only word that you should really not take with a grain of salt. You should take the whole word for what it is.